Well, hello all. My name is Stephen Thomas, and today we're continuing our little course on electronics. Now I'm going to show you a very interesting little circuit. I know that some of this is not in the actual school syllabus, but we're going to reopen to a new normal, and hopefully this new normal will include practical electrical circuits, not just circuits with resistors. Plus, this has gotten a lot of knowledge that is directly related to schoolwork, even though it includes a component called the comparator or operational amplifier. Now, let's go and revise just something that you do know. Let's suppose we've got a battery here. And let's suppose this is a 5-volt battery. So this is a 5-volt rail. And let's suppose this is 0 volts at the bottom, right? So there is our 5 volts, there's our 0 volt rail or conductor. Now, we're going to stick 2 equal resistors here. Equal resistors, doesn't matter what they are. Let's make them 10K each. 10,000 ohm resistors. Now, here's the question. If between here and here is 5 volts, what do you think the voltage is going to measure there? Remember, resistors in what is the series or parallel? Resistors in series are voltage dividers. And if they are equal resistors, they're going to divide the voltage equally. So what do you think the voltage is going to be over here? What do you think it's going to measure? Obviously, that will drop at half of 5 and that will drop at the other half. So this is going to measure 2,5 volts. So let's set that circuit up. Then let's do something also interesting. Let's put another resistor here of the same resistance. Let's make it different. Let's make it 30,000 and 30,000 ohms. What do you think the voltage is going to measure here? Resistors are in series and they are also voltage divided. So how much is it going to divide it? Well, 30 is going to divide this half of 5 and half of 5. So this is also going to measure 2,5 volts. But you say, so that is just so boring what you're doing. But let me show you how interesting this gets in a moment. We have a component called a comparator. It is a chip. It's an IC, integrated circuit. It's got a plus side, it's got a minus side to it. And then it's got an output. On the output, we're going to put a little LED, which goes like, let's put our LED like that. And we're going to have a resistor to protect the LED. So if the switch is on, our LED will glow, a light emitting diode will glow. And what does a comparator do? Let me tell you what it does. So we take a rail, we take a reading of the voltage here, and we take a reading of the voltage there. The comparator compares the two voltage. It compares the two voltages. Now, what it's trained to do, why you buy it, it can amplify the circuit, but it compares this voltage with this voltage. And if the one is higher than the other, the light will switch on. And if this rail is lower, the voltage will, the LED will switch off. So our comparator compares the two voltage dividers, and it compares them and says, if this is higher, switch it on. If it is lower than this 2.5, switch it off. So this set of resistors here is serving as our reference point. So the reference is we've set it because we've got two identical resistors. The voltage here is 2.5, and now if we can increase or decrease this here, if we say tap that to there, the light would come on. If we say tapped it to there, the light would go off. But we have an electronic way of doing this, which I get quite excited by. And that is, instead of using just ordinary resistors, we use light-dependent resistors. So this is their symbol, and here's the light coming to them. So we use two light-dependent resistors. Now this is how they work. If light shines on that one and not that one, so that one you keep in the dark, that one you make light, what happens is the resistance decreases. That becomes, say, 5K. So now we've got 10K there, 5K there. Most of the voltage is going to drop across here. So we find that the voltage is going to rise here to about 3.5 or 4 volts. And so because this has got lower resistance, we're going to get 1/3 is going to drop here. So what's 1/3 of 5? And 2/3 of 5 is going to be here. So this is going to now measure a voltage closer to, with the light shining, a voltage closer to about 4 volts. So by doing so, our LED switches on. Or let's do it a different way. Let's keep that one in the dark and let's have the light shine on this one. Okay, but we can't change the symbol. But let's say here's the sun now shining on this one. Well, this one's resistance, when the light falls on a light-dependent resistor, this resistance gets less. This gets, as if you like, closer and closer to 0 volts. Because imagine this just becomes a straight conductor, then this is attached to the 0 volts. So I always in my mind see, this is getting closer to being like a straight conductor. So then this will become closer to about 2 volts. And this will be about, so it will measure 2 volts. The other 4 volts will be dropped. So it will drop for, 3 volts here and leave us with 2 volts or 1 volt here. And then this 1 volt is less than 2.5, the light will go off. So by varying the light on these two light-dependent resistors, we can play with it and get this light-emitting diode to go on or off. Now, what is so interesting about this is we can use this to determine from which direction the light is shining most brightly. So let's just see if we can show you the circuit in operation. So let's show you the circuit in operation. If I cover this one light-dependent resistor, that goes on. If I cover this light-dependent resistor, that one goes on. Cover that one, cover that one. Do you see how the LED... Now what I've got is 2 LEDs. It's actually twice the circuit. I've got 2 comparators. I guess I should have explained that. So the one comparator switches the one LED on, the other comparator switches the other LED on. So and I could also just turn this to face the light. It's harder to see. There, it's facing the light. Turn it. There it comes on. Turn it. And we can get different lights, LEDs, to come on just by simply turning it towards or away from the light. And this is so interesting because you can now take this exact circuit and attach it. So what I've set up is in fact 2 of these. And we just reverse. This goes now, instead of this one went to the negative of that, it goes to the positive of this one. Instead of this one going to, this one went to the positive, it now skips over the wire and it goes to the negative of that one. And so the two act out of sync. When the one's on, the other's off. When the other's on, the other's off. So by just having 2 of these, we can that will switch the one on, that light shining on that will switch the other one on. So look, a very simple circuit that basically uses a component you've now learnt about called a comparator. What does it do? It compares voltages from two inputs. One input goes to the positive of the comparator, the other goes to the negative of the comparator. Here's the output where the end of the arrow is. The output has got a little LED to it and a resistor. And if the output switches it on, then our LED comes on. The output switches it off, our LED stays off. If we have two comparators and we just swap the positive and negative to negative and positive, we can get the one light will come on when the light shines on this one, and the other LED will come on when the light shines on this one. That's a little bit better than having the light just coming on or staying off. So again, illustrating the use of voltage dividers. Resistors in series of voltage dividers. Now, in normal school papers, you just got resistors in series and you just work out the effective resistance and maybe find a voltage here. It's got no real world value, but this has got a real world value. We use this exact circuit. Instead of having an LED here, we have one motor. This will turn the motor one way. This will turn the motor the other way. So we can turn a motor to go one way or the other way instead of having LEDs. And this can get our solar tracker to track the sun as the sun goes across the sky in the day. And so we get a much higher voltage on our solar panels. I've actually done this. So we can turn this circuit, which anyone who's just listening to this can understand. We could turn this into a solar tracker by just having a motor driver. This goes to a motor driver, which is another chip and drives your motor, which turns your solar panel. And if your solar panel is facing the sun in the morning, when it rises in the east, it's facing north in midday, and it's facing west at sunset, then you're going to get a lot more electricity from your panel. So that is a circuit using two voltage dividers and two comparators, and we can turn it into, and it will turn our LED on depending on whether the light is great on that variable resistor or that one. There's the symbol. Sometimes they include a circle around it. That shows it's a light dependent resistor. LEDs have light going away from them because they give off light. And there is our circuit.